That's simply not true. Why would I do that? No.
I don't know.
He seemed to be obsessed with me. You're obsessed.
I'm not obsessed with anything.
Maybe that makes me a maniac or a stalker.
What do you hope to achieve in this interview?
I came on your show because you're a veteran broadcaster. I think you'll give me a fair hearing. You were persecuted yourself not so long ago. So that's why I've chosen this show.
With this, Harvey does three things. 1. She praises Morgan, appealing to his good side. 2. With the verb persecuted, she presupposes that her situation can be compared to his. 3. This verb invites the audience to see her as a victim. However, what are the problems with Harvey's victim narrative? In this video, I'll look at the interview like a prosecutor would. Welcome or welcome back to the channel.
You first met him, I mean, the show shows you coming in to a London pub, you've just named the pub, and he's working behind the bar, Richard Gadd, and he offers you a cup of tea. Is that what happened?
No, that's not correct. He didn't offer me a cup of tea. Nobody gets anything free from the Holy Arms. I was in for a meal with a drink of lemonade, and I was very, very hungry. I'm diabetic, so very hungry. So that's.
And did you talk to him?
Harvey emphasizes unimportant details about holy arms and being hungry, when the essence of the question is whether or not she met and talked to Gadd, coupled with her self-repairs. This is a likely indication that this question is sensitive to Harvey. This doesn't make Harvey's answer objectively evasive or deceptive, but Morgan's subsequent interruption makes it clear that he restates the essence of his question.
Very hungry, so that's.
And did you talk to him?
He interrupted a conversation. There was another barman there, and he said, "Oh, you're Scottish," and basically commandeered the conversation. I was talking to somebody. It's pretty rude to interrupt. So he seemed to be obsessed with me from that moment onwards.
I mean,
there are noteworthy gaps in Harvey's explanation. There's a big leap from saying, "Oh, you're Scottish," to claiming that Gadd was obsessed with Harvey from that moment onwards. This points to Harvey wanting to emphasize the victim narrative and not the details about this meeting. Every narrative, and especially a victim narrative, needs an antagonist, Gadd, as indicated by Harvey's verb change from Morgan's verb talk to interrupt, plus the adjectives rude and obsessed. Harvey, on the other hand, is the protagonist that the host and audience should identify themselves with.
You were persecuted yourself not so long ago.
And next, it's revealed that there was more to this conversation. Who would have thought?
It says that you told Richard Gadd that he looked like a baby reindeer toy you once had as a child, hence the name of the show.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I appear to have written most of the show in my sleep. I dressed
Yes, because that totally sounds like something you'd say to someone who rudely interrupted your conversation. It totally doesn't sound like it's part of a longer and friendly conversation.
Did you have a baby reindeer?
I had a toy reindeer.
So that's true.
And he'd shaved his head. That bit is true. And there were reindeers in the shops. It was Christmas time or something. It was a joke. So I have inadvertently penned the name of the show.
Right.
Harvey acknowledges, but she uses restrictive language.
That bit is true.
Implying that other bits are false. They're not discussing whether or not it was a joke. That's Harvey's emphasis. What's actually relevant to emphasize is that there was obviously more to this conversation.
In the course of your relationship with Richard Gadd, you sent him 41,000 emails, 350 voice messages, 744 tweets, 48 Facebook messages, and 106 letters.
That's simply not true. If somebody was sending somebody 41,000 emails or something, they'd be doing how many a day? Lots.
Well, they'd be obsessively contacting
yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What did you send him?
None of that's true. I don't think I sent him anything.
You never sent him anything?
No.
That's simply not true, she says. However, are things as simple as that? Things are almost never that simple, and ironically, linguistic elements with an oversimplifying function indicate that things aren't simple. Morgan reuses Harvey's word.
Well, it'd be obsessively.
He seemed to be obsessed with
the word she used about Gadd. So with this, Morgan implies that it might have been Harvey who was obsessed with Gadd, which, theoretically, could be her reason for using the word in the first place, projection. There's an interesting difference between Harvey's initial categorical denial and her subsequent shift to hedging language.
None of that's true. I don't think I sent him anything.
Indicating uncertainty, not certainty. Hedges grant the speaker leeway to modify or retract their denial at a later point without directly contradicting it. However, considering how important this case is, this hit should be noted as potentially unreliable. People are expected to remember something like this. And next she starts retracting her denial more explicitly.
I think there may have been a couple of emails exchanging, but that was it. Just jokey banter emails.
Harvey keeps mentioning joke and jokey as if that's the crux of the matter, and uses minimizing language to downplay the contact the two had.
Couple of emails.
However, what's actually interesting is that she categorically denied it at first, but is now admitting to sending emails. May have been. This is hitching language again, and it's unreliable because either she sent the emails or she didn't. So she doesn't think she sent him anything, and there may have been a couple of emails, but she does remember that they consisted of jokey banter. How can she know that if she doesn't remember the emails? It sounds a lot like she does remember, and that there was more to their relationship.
So you're denying sending anything to him?
There may have been a couple of emails.
Text messages?
No.
Facebook messages?
No.
Did you tweet him?
I may have done years and years ago.
You actually tweeted him numerous times.
No, it wasn't numerous. It was about 18 tweets there or 14
It's quite a lot to someone who's not that well known.
The word numerous is a synonym to many and a lot, so it wouldn't exactly be wrong to say that 18 counts as numerous times.
I may have done.
This is the same hitching language. In general, people are expected to remember the people they're tweeting, especially when the stakes are this high. Overall, what's interesting here is that Harvey doesn't say any of this of her own accord. Morgan has to ask her, and the more he asks, the more she retracts her initial denial, which indicates undisclosed information, something she's known all along but hasn't told.
But we were all friends, it was banter.
They were all friends. So he wasn't just some rude guy after all.
Right, but it establishes you were contacted, that's in public.
Yes, I mean, this is...
That's the crux of the matter, not whether or not it was jokey banter, which is the wrong focus Harvey keeps reiterating, and most likely for self-serving reasons. Maybe that's why she seems to find the question uncomfortable.
Did you write him letters?
Public, no. I think when I saw the interview, that's actually incorrect. What I said there, when I saw that in The Guardian, I said, what a shame, it's not your fault, something like that.
You did write to him?
One later.
So...
It's the same pattern. First, the categorical denial, and then the retraction in form of hitching language.
Did you write him letters?
Public, no. I think
Harvey's emphasis on one letter should be questioned. Firstly, because she has a self-serving interest in downplaying her contact with Gadd, and secondly, because this interview has exposed that her memory, a selective memory, isn't exactly the best, and practically by her own admission too.
That's actually incorrect. What I said there.
Thus, mentioning the exact number of times, one, more than indicates that there could have been more letters, especially when it's as overdone as is the case here.
One later.
I mean, you could prove, I guess, quite easily it wasn't you.
Correct.
Because it'd all be on your computer.
Yeah, correct. That's right.
Would you be happy for someone to look at that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
The modification, which turns into a self-repair, is a retraction of her initial acknowledgement. So this isn't wholehearted agreement, to say the least. People's language has a way of betraying them. The expression "you know" implies shared knowledge between two speakers or more, even though Morgan doesn't know, which is why he's asking. So this points to Harvey being acutely aware of herself and the other person in the room, all indicating that this is a highly sensitive question. Maybe because the numbers she's admitted to aren't entirely accurate. Call it a hunch.
Because they're all sent from an iPhone.
Yes, so...
But they believe it wasn't actually an iPhone ever being used.
Meaning
that someone was hiding the fact that they were actually not using it. They were pretending it was from an iPhone.
I don't really understand that.
Most times, people don't understand a question, and there's nothing more to it. However, in this case, with a speaker who's made several unreliable denials, it should be noted that Harvey's claim to not understanding the question could be stalling. Firstly, because of the adverb "really," indicating that the speaker does understand it, just not really. However, the speaker defines that. And secondly, because she immediately understands Morgan's subsequent clarification, even though it could be argued that he doesn't clarify much. Let's watch.
Well, people can mask where they're sending stuff from.
Okay, right. I'm not Technology Whiz Kid of the Year. I wasn't doing that either.
Harvey claims while taking a breath in.
I wasn't doing that either.
and downplaying her knowledge about technology, thus providing herself with an excuse. Speakers with guilty knowledge, or speakers who know more than they're letting on, will frequently make self-deprecating statements if such statements give them a way out of the situation. We can't know for sure that this is the case here, but considering that Harvey's made unreliable statements, it's more than conceivable that Harvey knows more, and maybe a lot more than she's letting on. And next, it's made even clearer that there was more to their relationship than Harvey initially told. It seems that she's met with Gadd in several places.
It goes on to say that you heckled Richard Gadd when he was appearing in his stand-up shows. Did you ever do that?
No.
Never?
No, it's not.
Did you ever attend his stand-up?
I think I went to one. It was a long, long time ago.
And you never shouted out or anything?
Why would I do that? No.
I don't know.
No, I mean...
She thinks she went to one. This is hedging language again, granting Harvey leeway. However, it's not very reliable when they're discussing a specific event that she's expected to remember. And as we've seen, when Harvey mentions one incident, it's conceivable that there are more incidents, more shows she went to, and thus potentially more meetings. And that's the point. Harvey keeps missing the point, whether it's intentional or unintentional. She keeps overemphasizing what she wants the focus to be, that she only wrote one letter, and that she only went to one show, and that it was a long time ago, when the real focus is that she saw and most likely met with Gadd on several occasions. Thus, Harvey doesn't succeed with her agenda, what she wants the focus of this conversation to be. Before saying no, she's asking Piers.
And you never shouted out or anything?
Why would I do that?
Answering questions with questions could be a sign of stalling and postponing the direct answer.
I've got lots of friends.
What did you talk to him about?
It was just a Holy Arms banter. It was...
like what? What kind of thing?
What
you're going to do with your life, or, career stuff, sort of...
Again, Morgan doesn't know. That's why he's asking.
Or,
This expression indicates acute self-awareness on Harvey's part. This, coupled with her recurring hitches,
sort of...
and the fact that now it was Holy Arms banter and not just jokey banter, suggests that there was more to these conversations, whether they were face-to-face interactions or emails. It suggests that she doesn't just think he was being rude. Overall, Harvey's answer is hesitant and sounds intentionally vague, a direct contrast to when she gives answers that aren't potentially damaging to her.
What do you hope to achieve in this interview?
I came on your show because you're a veteran broadcaster. I think you'll give me a fair hearing. You were persecuted yourself not so long ago. So that's why I've chosen this show.
And you've been emphatic in the number of denials you're making here.
That's right.
But many of those things that I've put to you can be proven.
You're talking about emails and an email trail thing.
All that.
All of that. You're obsessed with... sorry, I don't mean to be horrible.
I'm not obsessed with anything.
You've gone on at length for a good 10 minutes about the emails.
Well, only because the emails...
Because it's a vast number.
Well, there's a huge number.
Speakers who aren't telling the truth or the whole truth frequently get annoyed with questions that are potentially damaging. Thus, Harvey's reaction to Morgan's questions about emails speaks volumes about how sensitive these questions are. Her reaction is exactly why Morgan keeps bringing it up, so with her reaction she isn't doing herself any favors. Furthermore, her reaction, calling Morgan obsessed before unreliably retracting this claim, gives an insight into what she's thought about Morgan right from the beginning. It suggests that her politeness, or large parts of it, was and is unreliable, a mask.
Because you're a veteran broadcaster, I think you'll give me a fair hearing.
If this is how Harvey defines obsessed, what other wrong definitions could she make? If law enforcement wants to see the emails, does that make them obsessed? No, obviously not. It means that they're interested in getting to the truth, something that a person shouldn't have a problem with, unless there are problems with their claims.
Do you have the same email address you've always had?
I had 6 at one point.
Why?
Because I like to keep people on different phones and different emails.
It's different email accounts?
Maybe 4. I think it's 4 to 6, yeah.
Once again, as soon as Morgan presses Harvey, she starts modifying her initial answer, because Harvey can't make it sound like she isn't normal. That would ruin the victim narrative and make it impossible for the audience to identify themselves with her. Potentially then, there could be other numbers she doesn't remember, or doesn't want to remember correctly.
And you have 4 phones?
Yeah, 2 broke. They were very, very old. 1 was brand new and broke, and is still to be returned to the shop. I like keeping people on separate phones as well. And maybe that makes me a maniac or a stalker or something.
Interestingly, no one had suggested that, except Harvey herself. Overall, several of Harvey's denials are unreliable, and her word choice points to a closer relationship with Gadd than the one she's admitting to. Whether that means Harvey can't be a victim in some aspects is another issue. What's obvious from this interview, however, is that there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. That's it for now. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more videos.